Yo guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some 27-1 Legendary Slayer, taking place on the map Epicenter. This gameplay is a little bit depressing, to be honest, because I actually managed to pull off the flawless right up until the end of the game, where I choke it, I get myself in a sticky situation, and I cock it all up. It's a little bit depressing, but I hope you guys enjoy watching it. I'm playing pretty darn aggressively, overextending a bit. The enemy team are not the strongest, as you might expect. But it's pretty enjoyable gameplay. You guys might not have seen Epicenter too much on YouTube. I don't see too many gameplays being posted of it. It's a pretty simplistic map. Personally, I prefer maps like Simplex. What I'm looking for in a map is a map that maybe looks simple on the outskirts, but then you actually play it a bit more and you find out there's hidden depth. And I don't think this is a map that really achieves that balance. It seems fairly simplistic. What you see is what you get, and there isn't much more that meets the eye. Which is kind of unfortunate, but it's not a bad map. I still enjoy it to some extent. I just prefer maps like Simplex and Onyx. But anyway, I had a topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and it kind of segues neatly from that topic, because it is regarding the maps in the Halo Master Chief Collection, and a little bit of my anxiety regarding it. Now, you guys might be aware that Lockout was announced as the next map on the collection, or on the HD edition of Halo 2, I should say, within the collection, and that is now the 5th map in the installment, so we've got one more to go. Personally, I'm crossing my fingers for Midship, because Midship for me is just this map that when me and my friends would want to throw down the gauntlet and decide who was the better Halo player, Midship was always the map that came up. It was always the deciding factor. It's a fantastic map. For me, it just represents competitive Halo in a bubble, and I absolutely adore it. And it just wouldn't feel like the same sort of Halo 2 to me if it wasn't on there. You know, that was probably 50% of my playing time was devoted into that map. And it was just a great experience, in my opinion. It's the Guardian of Halo 2. But, you know, right now I'm looking at the map lineup, and I'm kind of worried about the longevity of this title due to the inclusion of the maps and how they're, you know, how many there are and what they are. Because, you know, in my perspective, one of the things that made people drop off of Halo 4, and you saw a similar trend in Gears of War Judgment, in fact, was the initial map lineup and how it was kind of lacking in some areas. Because, you know, they didn't really have enough to cater to the 4v4 experience within Halo 4. One of the few maps that everyone would consistently vote was Haven, but outside of that, I don't think the community really embraced many of the 4v4 maps. You had, like, Abandon to some extent. Drift was considered awful for 4v4, and everyone wanted to drop it. It was mainly played on CTF eventually. And it was kind of the Forge maps that had to save the day. And I'm starting to think that this is what might have to occur in Halo Master Chief Collection, and they might have to embrace this very early on. Because although there are 3 strong, tried and tested 4v4 maps, you know, with Sanctuary, with Lockout, and I'm assuming the next one is going to be 4v4. I can't confirm that, but I've got a pretty good assumption and a pretty good idea that that's what's going to happen, because they've had 3 BTB maps before that, and now I'm guessing they're going to show 3 4v4 maps. And I'm just a little bit worried that, you know, they don't have enough maps to keep people engaged, especially as these are, you know, old maps. You know, although people, like, guaranteed like them and Halo fans will love them, it might not be necessarily fresh enough and exciting enough to keep players engaged for the long term. They might be looking for something to enhance that experience a little bit more. And you guys might be thinking to yourself, well, maybe they'll do DLCs, maybe they'll do HD DLCs, and they'll release them, but I kind of worry that it's going to have a similar problem to previous Halo games where the DLC numbers are kind of terrible. Not everyone buys every single DLCs, and if you look at the old Halo 2, you know, Halo 2, eventually the DLCs became free, so it might feel a little bit like people are being cheated out, and people might be more inclined to go towards the port, because it's like, well, Halo 2, I get all the DLCs, and you're trying to make me pay for them. Like, I know they're prettied up, and I know they're HD'd, but to a lot of people, graphics isn't going to be what it's about anyway. And they might be a little bit frustrated with the idea of paying extra on top. So I'm thinking, like, the Forge maps, I feel like they're going to have to go the extra mile with it. Because for me, when I felt like really down about Halo 4, and when I was getting to this position where I was like, oh, there might not be enough longevity in this title to keep me going, like, in the long term, it was the Forge maps that came in and saved the day. It was maps like Onyx, it was maps like Dispatch, it was maps like Simplex that opened up the experience. And they've got so many, you know, so much inspiration to look back at from Halo 2. They can just take a bunch of sick maps and put them in, and not only will it expand the 4v4, but it will also expand the BTB, because free BTB maps is still something that might get a little bit boring over time. And I hope that they make the Forge, you know, look and feel extremely presentable, and definitely up their game from Halo 4. I thought Halo 4 in terms of aesthetics was a step up from Halo Reach, and I'd love for it to have, like, you know, like different environments, to have that long-term playability, and not to get, you know, for it to be easy on the eyes to an extent. But we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, I see those 6 maps. I'm not sure if that's going to keep a player base engaged for like a year plus, a very, very large player base. And I think there might be some confusion within the players as to whether they should be playing, you know, the HD version, or whether be playing the remake, and it might cause splits, and it might be awkward. So I'm not really sure right now. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the commentary. I've been Modest Major. Just watching. Peace.